Hello and welcome to ASTA News, your daily digest of the most important political and economic news from the United States and around the world. Today we'll talk about Donald Trump's controversial trip to Scotland, his feud with the Federal Reserve, new tariffs that could make your favorite foods more expensive, and major global developments from Turkey, BRICS, and Africa. Stay tuned. Let's start with the United States. President Trump, visiting Scotland, launched a fresh attack on Europe's wind farms. He called them ugly bird killers and a disaster for the environment. At the same time, he gave a cryptic answer on trade talks with the EU, saying there's only a 50-50 chance of reaching any deal. What's more, Trump skipped a scheduled press conference to play golf instead, sparking outrage back home. Meanwhile, House Democrats are demanding access to Jeffrey Epstein's so-called birthday book, which reportedly includes a poem written by Trump himself. And in Washington, the new DOGE agency says it will use AI to repeal nearly half of all federal regulations, a radical plan that could change how the government operates. Beyond Washington, protests erupted in the UK against a visit from the US Vice President. In Florida, a Cuban refugee was arrested during tense immigration hearings. And in El Salvador, shocking reports of torture emerged from the country's mega prison, while rural America faces new healthcare cuts. Economically, things are heating up too. Trump's public attacks on Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell are rattling financial markets. Investors fear the independence of the Fed is under threat. This week is critical for Wall Street. The Fed is expected to keep rates steady, but all eyes are on new inflation data and the July jobs report. But perhaps the biggest shockwave will come on August 1st. That's when a new round of tariffs hits, including a 50% import tax on Brazilian açaí berries. Yes, even your favorite smoothie bowl could soon cost twice as much. And it's not just açaí. Coffee, beef, and fruit juices will also get more expensive. A new survey shows 60% of U.S. households are delaying major life goals, like buying a home, getting married, or having children because of economic pressure. Now let's zoom out to the rest of the world. In Turkey, the economy is finally stabilizing. Inflation has dropped sharply, and the central bank cut interest rates by 300 basis points to 43%. Moody's even upgraded Turkey's credit rating. Officials predict GDP growth around 4%, though independent analysts expect closer to 2.8%. Over in Brazil, Rio de Janeiro hosted the 17th BRICS Summit. Leaders of emerging economies pushed for stronger Global South cooperation. They signed declarations on UN reform, AI regulation, and climate action. India will take over the BRICS presidency in 2026. And in Africa, a historic peace agreement between the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda officially took effect. Mediated by the US, Qatar, and the African Union, the deal promises to end years of cross-border conflict. Critics, however, say it doesn't address the powerful rebel group M23 or the economic drivers of violence. Meanwhile, tensions are rising between Australia and Israel. The Australian Prime Minister called Israel's blockade of Gaza a violation of international law. The Foreign Minister called withholding humanitarian aid morally wrong. Protests erupted in Sydney and Melbourne, and reports say 2 Australians were on a seized humanitarian ship bound for Gaza. So what does it all mean? In the US, the feud between Trump and the Federal Reserve could trigger a political and financial crisis. Investors are already questioning how long Jerome Powell can remain as Fed chair. The upcoming tariffs also remind economists of the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act of 1930, which worsened the Great Depression. Analysts warn Trump's new trade war could shrink U.S. GDP by 6% and slash household income by $22,000. Globally, growth is holding steady at around 3.3% in 2025. Advanced economies are barely growing at 1.8%, while emerging markets like BRICS nations are expanding near 4%. Turkey's rebound and BRICS cooperation show how regional blocs are gaining influence while the US and Europe turn inward. So here are today's takeaways. Trump is pushing hard on tariffs and clashing with the Fed. US households are undergoing economic stress. BRICS nations are shaping a new global order. And fragile peace deals in Africa bring hope, but also tough questions. This week will be crucial, with the Fed meeting, fresh inflation data, and big tech earnings from Apple, Amazon, and Microsoft. What do you think? Should the Fed remain independent? And are tariffs really the answer to America's economic problems? Drop your thoughts in the comments, like this video if you found it useful, and don't forget to subscribe for tomorrow's update. Thanks for watching Asta News. See you next time.